Right, let's get straight to it. You've clicked on this video because something inside you knows you're capable of more. Something tells you that the life you're living isn't the life you're meant to be living. And you know what? That voice inside your head, the one that whispers, I can do better than this, that voice is absolutely right. Today, we're talking about the most powerful 3 words you can ever say to yourself. I will win. Not I might win, not I hope to win, but I will win. And I'm going to tell you exactly why this mindset isn't just positive thinking rubbish. It's the fundamental difference between people who achieve extraordinary things and people who spend their entire lives wondering, what if? Let me start with a story that changed everything for me. A few years back, I was having a conversation with a mate who just lost his job. Brilliant bloke, incredibly talented, but he was sat there telling me all the reasons why he couldn't find something better. The economy, his age, the competition. He had a list longer than the queue at Tesco on Christmas Eve. But here's what struck me. Every single sentence that came out of his mouth started with, I can't, or it's impossible, or the market won't allow it. He'd already decided he was going to lose before he'd even started playing the game. Now, contrast that with another friend of mine. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah started her business with £200 in her bank account and a laptop that was held together with gaffer tape. Everyone told her she was mad. Her family, her friends, even her bank manager looked at her business plan like she'd drawn it in crayon. But Sarah had something my other mate didn't have. Every morning, she'd look in the mirror and say, I will win. Not because she was delusional, not because she was ignoring reality, but because she understood something fundamental about how success actually works. You see, I will win isn't a prediction, it's a commitment. It's not about guaranteeing outcomes. It's about guaranteeing your effort, your persistence, and your refusal to accept defeat as permanent. Let's break this down properly, because this isn't some motivational fluff. This is psychology, neuroscience, and plain old common sense all rolled into one. When you say, I will win, your brain does something remarkable. It starts looking for ways to make that statement true. Psychologists call this the reticular activating system. Basically, your brain's spam filter. It decides what information is important enough to bring to your conscious attention. If you're constantly telling yourself, I can't do this, or this is too difficult, your brain helpfully filters out all the opportunities, all the solutions, all the paths forward that could prove you wrong. It's trying to keep you consistent with your beliefs, even when those beliefs are absolute bollocks. But when you shift to, I will win, suddenly your brain becomes your ally instead of your enemy. It starts spotting opportunities you never noticed before. It starts connecting dots that seemed completely unrelated. It starts showing you resources and people and strategies that were always there. You just weren't primed to see them.
Now, I can hear some of you thinking, this sounds like positive thinking nonsense. And you're absolutely right to be skeptical, because most positive thinking is nonsense. The difference is this. Positive thinking says everything will work out fine. The I will win mindset says I will make everything work out fine. And if my first plan doesn't work, I'll try the second plan. And if that doesn't work, I'll try the third. And I'll keep trying until something does work, because giving up isn't an option I'm willing to consider. See the difference? One is passive hope, the other is active determination. Let me tell you about the mindset of winners, real winners, not just people who got lucky once. They have 3 characteristics that separate them from everyone else. First, they redefine failure. For most people, failure is evidence that they should stop trying. For winners, failure is data. It tells them what doesn't work so they can eliminate those approaches and focus on what might work instead. Thomas Edison didn't fail 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. He found 1,000 ways that didn't work. J.K. Rowling wasn't rejected by 12 publishers. She was redirected toward the one publisher who understood her vision. This isn't wordplay. This is a fundamental shift in how you process setbacks. When you truly adopt the I will win mindset, you stop seeing obstacles as reasons to quit and start seeing them as puzzles to solve.
The second characteristic is that winners understand that motivation is unreliable, but systems are everything. You won't feel motivated every day. Some days you'll wake up and think, I can't be bothered. Some days the task ahead will seem overwhelming. Some days you'll wonder if you're completely deluded for even trying. And that's completely normal. Motivation is like the weather. It changes constantly, and you can't control it. But winners don't rely on motivation. They build systems. They create daily habits and routines that move them forward regardless of how they feel. They show up even when they don't want to show up, especially when they don't want to show up. Because here's what nobody tells you about success. It's not built on the days when you feel brilliant and unstoppable. It's built on the days when you feel rubbish and you do the work anyway. The third characteristic, and this might be the most important one, winners have an unshakable belief in their own agency. Agency is your ability to influence your own circumstances. It's the belief that your choices matter more than your conditions. It's understanding that whilst you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond to everything that happens to you. People without agency say things like, I'm just unlucky, or it's not fair, or the system is rigged against people like me. And sometimes they're absolutely right. Life isn't fair, and some people do face more obstacles than others. But winners focus on what they can control instead of what they can't. They channel their energy into their responses, their decisions, their next moves. They refuse to give their power away to circumstances, other people, or bad luck. Now, let's talk about the practical side of this. How do you actually develop the I will win mindset? How do you move from where you are now to where you want to be? Step 1. Get brutally clear about what winning means to you. Not what society says it should mean, not what your parents think it should mean, but what it actually means to you. For some people, winning means building a business empire. For others, it means being an incredible parent. For others, it means mastering a skill or making a difference in their community. There's no universal definition of success, but there must be a personal one. Because if you don't know what you're aiming for, you'll never know if you're moving in the right direction. And more importantly, you'll never be able to celebrate when you actually achieve it. Step 2. Break your big goal into smaller, actionable steps. I will win is powerful, but I will win by doing these specific things every day is unstoppable. Most people fail not because their goals are too big, but because they never bridge the gap between their big vision and their daily actions. They know where they want to end up,
but they have no idea what they should be doing today to get there. Winners reverse engineer their success. They start with the end goal and work backwards to figure out what needs to happen this year, this month, this week, today. Then they focus entirely on today's actions, trusting that each day's work compounds into something extraordinary. Step 3. Surround yourself with people who already have the mindset you're trying to develop. This isn't about networking or using people. This is about recognizing that attitudes are contagious. If you spend time with people who constantly complain about how unfair life is, you'll start thinking life is unfair. If you spend time with people who see opportunities everywhere, you'll start seeing opportunities too. You don't have to abandon your old friends, but you do need to be intentional about who you're learning from. Read books by people who've achieved what you want to achieve. Listen to podcasts by people who think the way you want to think. Find mentors, coaches, or communities that reinforce the I will win mindset. Step 4. Learn to love the process, not just the outcome. Winners understand that success isn't a destination, it's a way of traveling. If you only enjoy the moments when you're celebrating victories, you're going to be miserable most of the time. But if you can find satisfaction in the daily grind, in the steady progress, in the small improvements, then you'll enjoy the entire journey. This is crucial because most of your time will be spent in the process, not in the celebration. You need to find a way to make the work itself rewarding, not just the results of the work. And finally, step 5. Develop selective ignorance. Not ignorance about important information, but ignorance about irrelevant opinions. When you start taking your life seriously, when you start pursuing something meaningful, people will have opinions. Some will think you're being unrealistic. Others will think you're being selfish. Some will try to talk you out of it for your own good. Winners learn to filter out the noise. They listen to advice from people who've achieved what they're trying to achieve, and they politely ignore everyone else. They understand that most people's opinions about what's possible are based on their own limitations, not on reality. Look, here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. Most people never win because they never really try. They tell themselves they're trying, but they're not really trying. They're experimenting, they're testing the waters, they're keeping their options open. But winning requires commitment. It requires burning the boats, crossing the Rubicon, going all in. It requires saying, I will win, and then organizing your entire life around making that statement true. This doesn't mean being reckless or ignoring good advice. It means being decisive, persistent, and absolutely convinced that you'll find a way to succeed, even if you haven't figured out exactly how yet. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, start every morning by looking in the mirror and saying, I will win out loud. Not, I hope I'll win, or maybe I'll win, but I will win. Then ask yourself, what does someone who will win do today? And then do those things. Do this for 30 days and watch what happens. Watch how your brain starts working differently. Watch how opportunities start appearing. Watch how your entire approach to challenges begins to shift. Because here's what I know for certain. You already have everything you need to win. You might not have all the resources yet.
You might not have the perfect plan, but you have the most important thing, the ability to decide that giving up isn't an option. The question isn't whether you can win. The question is whether you will win. And that, my friend, is entirely up to you. Remember, champions aren't made in the gym or the boardroom or the studio. Champions are made in the mind. One thought at a time, one decision at a time, one day at a time. Your time is now. Your moment is here. I will win, and so will you.